Wow, what a game that was. The Cleveland Browns finally get a win after almost like over a month. Over a month of football without a win. The Browns finally get a win, and what a big one it was. The Browns have beaten the Baltimore Ravens, shocked everybody. I think they were a 9.5 point underdog at home, but they've shocked everybody. They defeat the Ravens 29-24, and that was an insane game, man. That was an insane game. Jameis Winston, everyone wanted to see Jameis Winston, and they got Jameis Winston. This was the quintessential Jameis Winston experience. He throws 300 and we got the stats right here. Let me pull them up really quick. Jameis Winston today was amazing today. Really, he could have been horrible. He could have been horrible. he was really good though. 27 of 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but possibly could have had 5 interceptions today. Again, like I said, it's the quintessential Jameis Winston experience. He can throw for so many yards and a lot of touchdowns, but he's also going to throw a lot of picks. This was the quintessential Jameis Winston game. He did have one turnover with the forced fumble, the sack fumble, but man, did he look like an NFL quarterback today. And this week was so tumultuous. It was such a wild and crazy week for the Browns. You have, Ken Dorsey taking over play calling duties from Kevin Stefanski. Browns people going, Browns fans theorizing, is Kevin Stefanski going to get fired at the end of this year? We had that happen. Then, we have more drama between the Browns players and the fans. Shelby Harris calling out the fans on his podcast. Then we get the news yesterday, the just earth-shattering news that Jimmy Donovan passed away. Rest in peace, Jim. If you guys did not see my post on my YouTube channel, I made a post basically giving my thoughts about Jim Donovan. But all of that bad juju, whatever you want to call it, from whatever happened last week against the Bengals to what happened this week, it just feels so good that the Browns finally win. And today, this game, to me, between the defense, offense, special teams, everyone played with some passion today. It looked like everyone played with some passion today. And it was awesome to see, guys getting involved, having good games. Nick Chubb back makes a huge difference. I think the offensive line played decent for the most part. I mean, it was just a good game all around. It had everything that you wanted in an NFL game. Touchdowns, drama, a lot of drops between the Browns, Ravens, both defensively and offensively. Just a lot of drops, a lot of drama. Coming down to the final seconds of a game, it had literally everything that you wanted in an NFL game today. But let's start off. Let's keep going on with the positives here, okay? And then we'll get to the negatives later on. This is the offense that we were supposed to see. This is the offense that the Browns and media reporters were promising us throughout the entire offseason and throughout the entire first couple weeks of this season, okay? And I'm just finally glad that we're able to see, finally, we're finally able to see an offense that is actually competent. We actually figured out that right now, for the most part, Deshaun Watson was probably the main problem. Deshaun Watson is probably the main problem. It's probably better for you as a football team to play a guy who happens to not be one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history. Okay, just saying, just a theory of mine. But Jameis Winston, we've said it before, we've heard it said before. He is a good quarterback. He is capable of giving you 5 touchdowns, 500 yards, able to wow you with his stats. He's also capable of throwing 5 picks along with those 5 touchdowns. And today, he probably should have thrown 5 picks. He had a couple of throws that were very, very errant, that were nearly picked off, should have been picked off. Luckily, the Ravens secondary dropped most of them. So luckily, we did not have any interceptions with Jameis Winston. And, I got to give credit to the receiving core today. The receiving core stepped up, especially a couple of guys. Uh, Cedric Tillman had a terrific game today. I think he had 9 catches. Let's see here. He had 9 catches. No, 7 catches, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns, including that 38-yard touchdown pass. Um, I mean, just an absolute awesome game from Cedric Tillman. He had a good game last week against the Bengals with DTR. Many people were saying, is that the breakout game for him? Is he gonna, finally come into his own as an NFL receiver? And another guy too that had a really good game today, Elijah Moore. 8 catches, 85 yards, long of 19. Cedric Tillman had an average reception of 14 yards. Elijah Moore, 10 yards. And your top 4 receivers, let's just list them off here, but since we're at it here. Jerry Jeudy, 5 receptions, 79 yards, 15.8 average of receptions for a long of 30. David Njoku, 5 receptions, 61 yards, 12 average, 23 for the long, and 1 touchdown. So, I mean, you're getting guys who absolutely produced. You have your guys, your receiving core, that you had a lot of, a lot of money and a lot of time and energy built into this receiving core, and they finally stepped up today. You had a lot of good receivers, good receiving games today, especially Cedric Tillman. He really showed out. He showed a lot of people today. I'm curious to see if he's able to keep this going. If he's able to keep this going throughout the rest of the season, I think you can say he's at least a number 2 or maybe a number 3. He solidifies himself in that role. But just a terrific game from him. I think the offensive line played decent for the most part. That sack fumble, I don't know if it was DeJuan Jones' fault. I don't know. Him and Bitonio blocked the same guy. I don't know if it was an assignment issue by DeJuan. If just a free rusher coming in from the linebacking core from the Ravens. It was just a good play. I don't know if DeJuan was supposed to kick out and try and chip to try and stave off that rusher. I don't know. But that was pretty much, really, that was like the only bad thing from the offensive line outside of maybe like Wyatt Teller having a couple penalties again today that hurt. He had a holding call and then the false start on the last possession for the Browns offensively. He had that false start call after you get the first down from Elijah Moore. Backs you up pretty much out of field goal range. Luckily, it didn't hurt you in the end. But again, Wyatt Teller, offensive line, another offensive penalty to shoot yourself in the foot. Still, everyone thought that, maybe Kevin Stefanski giving up play calling duties, maybe that can shore up some of the offensive penalties. That didn't happen today. I think the Browns pretty much had the same amount of penalties and the same amount of mistakes they had offensively in terms of lining up on all of that when Kevin Stefanski was calling the plays. But to me, I didn't see really that much of a difference between Ken Dorsey calling plays and Kevin Stefanski. I don't think you can blame Kevin Stefanski pretty much for anything. Maybe you can say he should have challenged the Njoku catch, I think in the third quarter or the second quarter on the sideline. That's probably the only thing you could probably, knock him for, in my opinion. But, I mean, Ken Dorsey, I think, was calling plays well. I think he had a couple of times where that last possession in the second quarter, I think, was a little bit odd. Passing multiple times when you're in a 2-minute scenario, you're backed up behind the sticks. I would have just ran the ball trying to run the clock out. That's just me. But all in all, I think they had a good game. Again, then we had to go get to the negatives. Injuries are piling up for the defense right now. You had Denzel Ward with another concussion. Dude, you got to wear that Guardian cap, man. I know you may not like it, but Denzel, please, for the love of God, save your head, save your brain. This is his 6th concussion of his career, and that's just insane. I think that's a concussion for every season he's been in the league. He's been in, I think this is his 7th year or 6th year. I think this is year 7, so he's just had about a concussion almost every year. So we'll see how long he's going to be out for. He'll probably be out for next week's game against the Chargers. We'll see about that. And also JOK having that very, very, very scary neck injury. He went to the hospital. They say he's got movement in all extremities. I hope that he doesn't have any, broken bone in his neck or spinal cord injury. Hopefully it's just a very bad stinger or some sprain. Hopefully he can come back this season, and hopefully he's not done for a long time. But we have to talk about the cornerbacks because, my God, when Denzel went out of the game, you could tell that the cornerbacks just did not play good at all. I mean, the Browns were able to hold the Ravens to 10 points in the first half, and the Ravens were able to get the touchdown. Pretty much, defense played well. We'll say this: defense played well for the most part of the first half. Okay, they held the Ravens to 3 points. Then Jameis has a sack fumble. Ravens get good field position. They're able to score a touchdown, so they scored 10 points. I don't really fault the defense for that point at that part for the touchdown. That's not my issue. But we got to start talking about MJ Emerson and Greg Newsome. I don't know what in the world that they are doing. I don't know what's going on for this season. MJ Emerson looks lost. He gets beat every single time now. I don't understand. I don't understand that his knock was that he's not a fast, twitchy, he's more of a lanky corner. But my God, I mean, I think he had like 2 or 3 penalties against him today. Greg Newsome, same thing. I mean, pass interference on Mark Andrews. I don't understand what you're doing with that. So Greg Newsome and MJ Emerson, they're going to have to step up again next week and maybe the week after that. I mean, you're going to have a bye week after this Chargers game. We'll see how they'll do next week. But man, it's just this game had everything that you wanted. It was a terrific, heart-pounding game. Luckily, the Browns came out on top. Jameis Winston, I mean, he threw for over 200 yards. Browns score over 20 points. He had a 300-yard game. I think this just shows, for me at least, I think this vindicates Kevin Stefanski. I think this saves Kevin Stefanski's job because Deshaun Watson seems to be the problem. I think that they showed a stat, or I saw something on Twitter where they said almost every single QB has thrown for 300 yards with Kevin Stefanski, except for Deshaun Watson. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it's true. If I think about it, I don't really think it's true. But, yeah, I mean, Deshaun Watson seems to be the fall guy for everything that went wrong with this offense, because Jameis Winston is able to come in and the offense looks like a competent, good offense like it was supposed to look. So I think this probably does vindicate Kevin Stefanski, at least for me. So for everybody who's been complaining about Kevin Stefanski, who wanted to see him shift play callers, you got your wish. Deshaun Watson's taken out. Browns look good. Browns look pretty good offensively, at least for this game. The guy left holding the bag, Deshaun. Hey, you pretty much had everything. You pretty much had everything that Jameis had. Couldn't do anything with it. That's just my opinion, though. But anyways, I'm not going to damper the mood with that. We're not going to talk about Deshaun Watson. The Browns have won a game for the first time in over a month. Celebrate. Let off some steam. Be responsible. Browns have another game against the Chargers. They're playing right now against New Orleans, who we're going to face after the bye week. 2 very winnable games. If the Browns somehow can go and beat the Chargers and the Saints, you go 4-6. That gives you to Sunday or Thursday night against the Steelers. Could be a very pivotal game if you want to stay at least get yourself into the playoff conversation. But we won't look that far ahead right now. Still got to win against the Chargers next week, but we'll celebrate this one right now. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there. But 2-6, not great, but we're able to watch a really fun game, and finally the Browns have a win in over a month. At least we got that. All right, everyone. Take care. I'll see you guys all in another video.